Hey guys, welcome back to now part 2 of this video, and we're going to dive into the solutions or some of the things that you can do to maybe help or aid you in some of these reasons that we were discussing in part 1, which is the top reasons why people don't get mental health in the first place, or why some people aren't getting better even if they have traveled through getting mental health. So the really hard part about this is that I know so many of you out there have specific individual problems or issues. And again, everyone is different, and this is not like a cover for every single person. It's not a blanket solution, but it is at least suggestions and just something from another person that can maybe offer some ailment to why you struggle with trying to get help or why you are not getting help. So number 1 was fear and shame. And fear and shame, again, if you don't recall from the first part of the video, is coming to the decision of saying, I need help in the first place, and feeling the embarrassment that might go along with it. And there's so many different questions that come up in your mind, like, well, what are they going to be asking? And what am I going to be having to admit to? And is this going to help me in the long run? My answer to this is nothing that isn't worth putting some effort is going to be easy. Nothing in your life that is worth fixing is ever going to be an easy fix. It's always going to be a struggle. It's always going to be something that is a process. And I'm going to be using this word a lot in this video. So please, if I repeat myself, if there's a reason for it, it's a process. And getting over fear and getting over the stigma of thinking that, is this going to help me? Is this not going to help me? Is something you're going to have to quiet. I feel that if you have fear about this, that this is something that you truly do want to do, to try to put that all to the side and at least take little tiny steps of being a little bit more open to the positive side of it. What it could do for you, what it could give you back, how it could make things a lot better than they were prior to when you first decided to make the decision to get help. We're going to move on to number 2, which is lack of insight. And that is basically saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. People are worried about me, but honestly, I think I'm fine and I don't really need the help. And again, if people actually think this, which is very hard to try to talk to a person that doesn't think they need help, because we all go through this. And it's not just in mental health, it's with a lot of other things, People that smoke, people that drink, people that take drugs, people that have sex, people that exercise too much. Oh, I'm fine. I don't need help. Again, it's very hard to try to convince someone that they need help, especially if they're not there. So for some people that say, I don't need the help, I will come back with maybe they're not ready for it yet. And that's unfortunate, because I know that to be a bystander in somebody's life, especially if you love somebody, and to hear a person say, I don't need the help, I don't think I need help, I'm fine, it's going to be okay. I guess if you wanted to open that conversation, you could have an open-ended one by saying, well, why do you think you don't need help? Like, why would I feel this way if you feel you're okay? And I know that sounds like you're asking for somebody else to dictate to you how you feel about it, but sometimes you really have to put it out in the open. Is it something that's detrimental to their health? Are they really doing something that's deterring them from getting help, or is it just that they're just not there yet? And if they're just not there yet, well, again, it is a process. Everything about any type of help is a process. And unfortunately, if a person isn't there yet, you can't make them be yet. But you can support them when they're ready to be. You can stand by and express your care, and you can be supportive to them, even if they're not ready for it yet. Let's move on to number 3, which is limited awareness, which kind of ties into the same thing. Basically, like, I don't need help. limited awareness is things aren't really that bad, or kind of downplaying it, or saying, oh, it's really okay. I'll get through, I'll get by. Everybody has issues. I'm that person. I am that person that has said, why am I special? Why do I feel like I need to go when, XYZ is worse, or, it's really not that bad. Because if you don't think it's bad now, the more you feel this way, the more you convince yourself to feel this way, the worse it's going to get. If you don't give yourself the proper perspective about how you're doing in general, you're not going to be able to down the line understand what went wrong in the first place. If you keep saying, it's okay, it's not that bad, it's handleable for now, it's culpable for now may be true, but down the line, it's going to only weaken you to a point where you might get to a point where you feel like you can handle it. I'm lucky and fortunate enough to have gone down that road several times and done things that I regret and can take back, because I'm sitting here making this video and saying to you that I regretted every step I've made, ignoring the fact that I've said it's not that bad, or it's okay for now. It's never okay if you are putting yourself off. Never. All right, number 4, feelings of inadequacy and failure. I'm going to use that P word again. It is a process. Yes, you are going to feel inadequate. Yes, you are going to feel like a failure, because you are admitting something. You are coming to a point in your life saying, I cannot handle my life. I cannot function in my life. Yes, you're going to feel inadequate. Does that mean you are inadequate? Absolutely fucking not. No, you're not inadequate at all. You're not a failure at all. What you are is a champion. What you are is a warrior. You want to know why? Because you're coming out of that thinking that you can handle it all and it won't affect you. You're actually stating that you can't, that you do need the help, that you do need the guidance, that you do need the tools and the resources that are going to get you back on track. And that is nothing to feel ashamed about. And that is nothing to feel that you are a failure when you're looking to take the reins and you're looking to take yourself back. In that, I say, there is nothing to ever feel ashamed about. Nothing. All right, moving on to number 5, distrust, not keeping confidential. First off, the distrust is a personal thing, and that is an individual thing. So you can't force a person to trust right off the gate. There has to be something that allows somebody to feel that they can trust. And what you are willing to give. If you're only willing to disclose certain things, but not everything right now, that's fine. That's your comfortability. But know that every clinician, physician, psychologist, psychiatrist, their first thing is confidentiality. It is between you and them. If you feel it necessary, or if they feel it in an extreme situation, which is the one and only time that it's ever divulged, is if it's extreme, if it's detrimental to you physically and or to others, then yes, it might be. But again, these are extreme situations. But coming down to confidentiality, number 1, that is up to you. That is up to you and to the clinician, and that is basically on the premise of what you're allowing yourself to talk about and what you're not. And no one is going to be able to help me because this is the way I feel about myself. A lot of what people don't understand is a lot of what you think is you doesn't exist. A lot of what you feel is you sometimes doesn't exist, because it's what you are suffering with. You are already in a place of feeling like you have no hope. So of course you're going to feel hopeless. That's normal. When we start to normalize the fact of these symptoms, this is when we're going to be able to deal with them better. It's normal to feel hopeless. It's normal to feel like nothing's going to help me, because that is the way our minds are clouded. That is the reason why we need this type of help even more. We don't want to think this way. We don't want to feel this way. But you know what? I've tried XYZ and it didn't help. And I'm guilty of this because I've said this so much in my lifetime. Oh, please, please. I've gone through this therapy and that medication and this medication. None of it helped. And while a lot of it is true, because a lot of it didn't help me, it doesn't mean that everything is basically has been tried. Not everything has been tried. It's just those specific resources I went to, specific people that I went to, specific meetings I went to, specific medications that didn't work for me. That does not cover everything. That covers a very small portion. Even though when we're doing it, we think that that's the end all be all. This should be helping me. Why isn't it helping me? Because it takes a lot of time and a lot of a process to help a person that is suffering with a mental illness. A lot. It is not going to go away like this. It may never go away. There is no cure to this. It is something that we are being taught to live with. We can't take back the things that have already occurred, but there are so many different things we can try and do and look forward to instead of looking back and saying, this didn't work for me. While some of those things may be true, doesn't mean that it covers the gamut of everything. It does not. And that I have been so thick-headed about that, oh no, that's not going to help me because, well, how do I know? How do I know? Maybe certain people didn't help me, but other people were able to help me. Okay, next one is unavailability. There is no mental health in my area, or I can't get to said place because it's too far away, or there just isn't enough resources. And I've said this in the first half of my video, and I'm going to validate that point again. We are in the time of social media, digital, internet, the World Wide Web. We have so much now at our fingertips. It's not even funny. So to this, I say, not always true. Not always true. Well, yes, some areas of a state or a world, whatever, a country may not have the resources physically. But if you go on the web, there always is an option. And I can say that with a lot of confidence because I was one of those people that downplayed that there isn't specific help for me. And how do I know there isn't specific help for me when I don't know exactly what I'm dealing with all the time? It's a varying thing. It's not just one specific type. There are many different variants to mental health. It's not just this part or that part. There are different variants. So why would you think that there isn't any help out there for you? Is it so specific? Is it so mind-boggling that no one can figure it out? I don't think so. So again, I'm going to go back to online, and there are resources. And again, I have it in my description box down below. You can try supportgroupcentral.com. You can try Hey Peers. You can try NAMI. You can try so many different aspects. And sometimes they're in your community, and sometimes they're just online. And look at it this way. If it's something that's helping now, there's nothing wrong with it. Do something that is helping you now, whether it's just listening to a book or, listening to a podcast or going to a support group meeting or going to a peer-to-peer with a person that you feel comfortable with. Whatever is going to help you now until you can get said therapy, until you can be able to go physically to somebody that you feel comfortable with. There are always resources out there, and you just have to do the work to get there. Again, just like you would research anything else. You'd research a recipe if you wanted to make something, that was special. You would research a specific topic that you wanted to know more about. So why wouldn't you research your own mental health? Okay, moving on to practical barriers. Cannot pay, lack of insurance, schedules. ties into the unavailability, which again, yes, it is a valid reason. I myself don't have such great insurance. I have what the government gives me. Is it the best? No, it's not. Is it something that I have to deal with for now? Yes, it is. And it's something that I've had to deal with a lot of my lifetime because a lot of my jobs didn't offer it, or I didn't work enough or long enough at certain jobs to even get their insurance, or the insurances that I did have ran out. So unfortunately, I have had to go through several different obstacles with lack of insurance or no insurance in my lifetime. There are people out there you can see on a sliding scale. If you can afford $5, $25, what have you, then you can go something like that. If you can't pay for anything, then you can apply for government insurance. If you're not able to get government insurance, then again, you can go back to the web, like I said, and go on some of these websites that you don't have to have any money for. You don't have to have any insurance for. It's there at your disposal. And again, I know it's a very general blanket statement, and I am not saying that a lot of people don't have valid reasons why they are struggling with trying to get mental health, but there are other avenues to go. And that's all I'm really saying. I am not saying across the board you're making excuses and that's just it. No, not at all. So, like I said, I have gone through these in my own life, and I do understand the struggle, and I do know what it feels like to feel held back or miss out on, or just feel like there's no answer to this. And until mental health gets better, and unfortunately is free for everybody, which I really do believe that it should be, this is what we have to do. Okay, to 9, stigma and discrimination. Stigma and discrimination, I know, means a lot to a lot of people nowadays, especially that everything we do is socially interactive. Everything is on social media. Everything is, through our phones and what have you. And again, who says you have to give or disclose everything that you're dealing with? That is up to you. What you're willing to tell other people, what you're willing to talk about, if you're comfortable with, is solely up to you. And if that is tied into something you feel will be stigmatized, there are always going to be people who have an opinion. There are always going to be people who make judgments. You know what those people are? Those people are people with their own issues that don't know what else to do but to pick on other people who have said issues that they're not even qualified to make comments about. And again, it's all perception. It's all in the way you look at things. It's all in the way you view things. And sometimes you have to just cut certain things out. If you do feel that you're going to be judged by people, then maybe take some of those people out of the equation. Maybe don't tell all of your family members. Maybe don't discuss this with new friends or new relationships right now until you're comfortable, until you can trust that. As far as those discriminating, again, we deal with it every single day. Everyone in the world deals with some type of discrimination, unfortunately, in this world. And you know what? Mental health is of no, there's no pass for that either. There's so much discrimination even now, even more so because of social media. And again, sometimes you have to pull back from social media. Sometimes you just have to go back to bare bones and just deal with what's in your little bubble. Because basically, ultimately, what matters is what's in your specific world, not always what's out here. So try to think of it that way. And then my favorite, number 10, making excuses, not prioritizing. Well, do I have thoughts on this one? It goes back to, again, if you have a cut on your finger, are you going to just sit there and suffer and let it bleed and just not do anything about it until it festers and the wound gets bigger? Or are you going to do something about it? Are you going to run it under some cold water to make the bleeding stop? Are you going to put a Band-Aid on it? Are you going to put some kind of an ointment on it? Are you going to treat it? Are you going to treat that so you feel better? You know what the answer to that is? Yes. So why wouldn't you do whatever it takes to make yourself mentally feel better instead of saying, I don't have the time for it. All of those things, even though you think I'm not functioning properly, well, then you're able to make some time. What are we talking? An hour a week? 2 hours a week? If that? I strongly stress, I don't care how much time it takes. With anything that's worth your salt in this life, there's work, there's process, there is given some commitment to. No relationship is going to work. No diet is going to work. No program is going to work if you don't give some time to it, if you don't set aside some time for it. The other things can be put aside. They can. I know you think they can't. They can. Because in some instances, if you're honest, and that's the other reason too, if you're not honest enough, if you're honest enough to say to your job, to your school, to your friends, to your mother, to your husband, to your wife, I'm struggling. I need to do this in order to function in my life. Do you really believe those people are going to turn around and say, nope, sorry, I don't think that's necessary? It's your life. It's your life. If it's worth getting better in anything, in any realm, physical or mental, you need to make the time. Stop using that as an excuse. Stop using that as an excuse. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for saying that you said you weren't going to say that these are excuses. Yes, I did say that, but there are so many reasons why people use an excuse not to get mental health. And that is, I don't have time. If you can take out the time you take to watch Netflix or to go on a website or to scroll through your Facebook, you can find the time to sit there and heal what is ailing you. And I'm going to end it at this, you guys. I know these are very, these are not meant to, like I said, diagnose anyone or anything of that nature. This is just a peer offering another person some suggestions and saying that I have been guilty of all of these and that I'm no perfect person out there, that I'm a human being that struggles right along with you. So I get it. I do get the obstacles. I do get how hard things can be. And again, we are living in the time of just everything is an obstacle. Everything is a struggle. Everything is hard. But there is the light. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is the light at the end of the rainbow. There is some sort of help. And that's all I'm offering you today. So hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I hope you did. Please leave me any comments. Try to be respectful if you disagree. And I do understand if you do. And yeah, I hope to see you guys very soon in my next video. Have a great day.